Imagine walking through a forest where every single tree bends at the exact same angle, curving like giant question marks frozen in time. 400 pine trees, all twisted in perfect unison, as if some invisible hand reached down from the sky and bent them with surgical precision. This isn't a fantasy world or a digital creation. This is real, and it's hidden in the forests of Poland, waiting to reveal its secrets. Deep in the remote countryside of western Poland, just outside a small village called Nowe Czarnowo, there exists a place that shouldn't exist according to the laws of nature. The locals call it Krzywy Las, which translates to the crooked forest. And when you first lay eyes on it, your brain struggles to make sense of what you're seeing. These aren't trees that have been damaged by storms or disease. These aren't random mutations scattered throughout the woodland. These are 400 pine trees that all bend in the exact same direction, curving sharply at their base before straightening up toward the sky, creating an otherworldly landscape that looks more like a Salvador Dali painting than an actual forest. The trees were planted around 1930, which means they've been standing there for nearly a century, guarding their mystery. Each tree curves at a 90-degree angle near its base, just a few feet above the ground, before shooting upward in a perfectly straight vertical line. The bend always faces north. Always. Not one tree breaks this pattern. Not one tree curves south or east or west. It's as if someone programmed them with invisible coordinates, setting every single one to bend in identical formation. The sight is so surreal that visitors often stand in stunned silence, their minds racing to explain what their eyes are witnessing. But here's where the story gets even stranger. These crooked trees are surrounded by a normal forest. Just beyond this small grove, ordinary pine trees grow straight and tall, exactly as nature intended. The contrast is jarring. It's like someone drew a circle on the forest floor and said, "Everything inside this boundary will defy logic." The crooked forest occupies less than 4 acres, making it feel like an isolated anomaly, a glitch in the matrix of the natural world. And for decades, scientists, botanists, and curious minds from around the globe have tried to solve the riddle of how and why these trees bent this way. The most popular theory suggests human intervention. According to this explanation, local farmers in the 1930s deliberately manipulated the young saplings, using tools and techniques to bend them into these unusual shapes. But why would anyone do this? The theory proposes that the farmers intended to harvest the curved wood for furniture making, particularly for building the curved parts of boats or the bent wood frames that were popular in traditional carpentry. The naturally curved timber would have been incredibly valuable, saving craftsmen the difficult work of steaming and bending wood into shape. It was an investment, a living warehouse of pre-shaped lumber that would mature over decades. Then, coming of the World War II, Poland was devastated. The German invasion in 1939 brought unimaginable destruction to the region. Villages were burned, populations were displaced, and entire communities vanished. According to the theory, the farmers who had bent these trees either died in the war or were forced to flee, taking the secret of their forest with them. The trees were abandoned, left to grow in their strange shapes, while the world around them burned and was rebuilt. By the time peace returned, the knowledge of who created the crooked forest and exactly how they did it had been lost to history, buried with a generation that never came home. But not everyone believes this explanation. Skeptics point out significant problems with the human intervention theory. First, there's no documentation. No records exist of any farming operation bending trees on this scale. Second, the precision is too perfect. Getting one tree to bend at exactly the right angle is challenging enough. Getting 400 trees to bend at the identical angle in the identical direction with the identical curve radius seems almost impossibly difficult for farmers working with basic tools in the early 20th century. And third, why did they plant normal trees all around this grove. If they were creating a lumber operation, wouldn't they want more curved trees, not fewer? This has led some researchers down a different path, exploring environmental explanations. Perhaps a unique combination of soil conditions, gravitational anomalies, or magnetic fields caused the trees to grow this way. Maybe a heavy snowfall in the first few years after planting weighed down the young saplings just right, bending them uniformly before they grew strong enough to resist. Some have suggested that a local microclimate, a specific pattern of wind that only affects this small area, shaped the trees as they grew. The problem is that none of these environmental theories explain why only these 400 trees were affected while everything around them grew normally. Nature is powerful, but it's rarely this precise, this uniform, this deliberately artistic. Then there are the more exotic theories, the ones whispered by visitors who feel something uncanny in the crooked forest. Some believe the land itself holds ancient energy, that this spot was sacred to pre-Christian tribes who inhabited the region thousands of years ago. They suggest the trees are responding to something beneath the ground, perhaps geological formations or electromagnetic phenomena we don't yet understand. Others have speculated about everything from genetic mutations to secret Nazi experiments during the war. And yes, there are even those who half-jokingly suggest extraterrestrial involvement, pointing to the mathematical precision of the curves as evidence of something beyond human capability. Walking through the crooked forest today is an experience that transcends simple sightseeing. The twisted trunks create a cathedral of strange beauty, sunlight filtering through the canopy above while shadows dance across the curved wood below. Visitors report feeling disoriented, as if the forest is playing tricks on their perception. Photographers love it because every angle offers a different perspective, a new way to frame the impossible geometry of these living sculptures. In spring and summer, the green foliage softens the strangeness. In winter, when snow blankets the ground and clings to the bent trunks, the forest looks like something from a fairy tale, beautiful and slightly menacing at the same time. The truth is, we may never know for certain what created the crooked forest. Despite nearly a century of growth and decades of investigation, the mystery remains unsolved. The trees themselves aren't talking, and the people who might have known the truth are long gone. What we're left with is a beautiful enigma, a reminder that even in our modern world of satellite imagery and genetic analysis, there are still places that defy complete explanation. The crooked forest stands as a monument to the unknown, a testament to the fact that nature, or human ingenuity, or perhaps some combination of both, can still surprise us. And maybe that's exactly as it should be. Maybe we don't need every mystery solved. Maybe the value of the crooked forest isn't in finding the answer, but in asking the question. It reminds us to stay curious, to question what we see, to never assume we understand everything about the world we inhabit. Those 400 bent pines have been standing in formation for nearly 100 years, and they'll likely stand for many more, silently keeping their secret while generations come and go, each one looking up at those curved trunks and wondering, if this story sparked something in you, if you felt that little thrill of curiosity about the mystery still hiding in our world, then do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button right now. This channel is dedicated to uncovering the strange, the unexplained, and the absolutely fascinating corners of our planet. There are countless stories like this one waiting to be told, places that will make you question reality and remind you that the world is far more interesting than we give it credit for. So subscribe, turn on notifications, and join me on this journey into the extraordinary. Because the next mystery we explore might be even more mind-bending than 400 perfectly bent trees in the middle of Poland. See you in the next one.